Russia has said it downed drones targeting Moscow earlier today. One drone, however, went out of control and struck the same high-rise which was hit over the weekend. Russia's defense ministry has accused Ukraine of launching another terrorist attack. It comes just 2 days after 3 drones were intercepted and shot down in Moscow. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that a Russian missile strike on the city of Kryvyi killed at least 6 people. A 10-year-old girl and her mother were among the victims. Zelensky described the attack on his hometown as terrorism. He added that over 350 emergency service workers have been deployed to carry out rescue operations. The French Foreign Ministry has said that it is planning to evacuate French citizens from Niger. This comes days after military leaders staged a coup and ousted President Bazoum. Over the weekend, anti-France demonstrations escalated outside the French embassy in Niamey. Protesters pelted stones at the embassy and chanted anti-France slogans. France has condemned the coup and urged the junta to reinstate Bazoum. Niger's Prime Minister has given an interview to a French news channel. He said that ousted President Mohamed Bazoum will not resign. He added that Bazoum is in high spirits. The Prime Minister also warned that any sanctions imposed on Niger by the West African Regional Bloc ECOWAS would bring an economic disaster to the country. The Niger coup has been widely condemned by West African leaders, the United States, the United Nations, African Union and the European Union. Niger's neighboring countries, Burkina Faso and Mali, have warned that military intervention against Niger would be considered a declaration of war. Burkina Faso and Mali are also coup-hit nations. They are both ruled by military juntas as well. Their warnings come after West African leaders threatened to use force to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. Senegal has dissolved the party of opposition leader Ousmane Sonko. Protests broke out in Senegal's capital, Dakar, on Monday. This comes after a prominent opposition leader, Ousmane Sonko, was remanded in custody. He faces charges of plotting an insurrection and criminal conspiracy, among other offences. Clashes broke out after Senegal restricted access to the internet due to the spread of hateful messages on social media. Myanmar's ruling junta has partially pardoned ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi on 5 charges. Suu Kyi faces multiple charges including electoral fraud and corruption, which could have landed her in jail for over 30 years. Suu Kyi was ousted in February 2021 and has been in detention ever since. Myanmar's ousted President Win Myint has also been pardoned in 2 cases. The Israeli Supreme Court has said that all 15 judges will participate in hearings on arguments against Israel's new Judicial Overhaul law. This will be the first time that all judges will participate in the hearings. The Supreme Court will hear petitions to strike down the law. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Judicial Overhaul plan has triggered widespread protests across Israel. Protesters say that the law limits the powers of Israel's Supreme Court and is dangerous for democracy in the country. Taliban leaders and US officials met in Qatar on Monday. This was the first time the two sides met since the US pulled out of Afghanistan and the Taliban took over in August 2021. Taliban's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said that the two sides discussed confidence-building measures. This included the lifting of sanctions and travel bans and the return of Afghan central bank assets held abroad. A crane collapsed during the construction of a bridge in the Indian state of Maharashtra. At least 17 people have been killed. Several people are feared trapped under the collapsed crane. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a relief assistance of about $2,000 to those families who were killed. Clashes have broken out in the Indian state of Haryana. Violence erupted when a mob tried to stop a religious procession. At least 5 people have been killed, while over 70 have been injured. Police have registered 40 cases and arrested over 80 people in connection with the violence. The Indian Space Research Organisation, or ISRO, has given an update on the Chandrayaan-3. It said that it has left the Earth's orbit and is now on its way towards the Moon. Chandrayaan 3 is India's third lunar mission. ISRO aims to soft land Chandrayaan 3 on the moon. If successful, India will become the first country to soft land its mission near the South Pole. In climate, the death toll from Typhoon Doksuri has risen to 20 in China's capital Beijing. A footage showed a graveyard of wrecked cars lying about in floodwaters. The Chinese military has dispatched helicopters to deliver supplies to Beijing's western suburbs. The typhoon is one of the worst storms to hit northern China in over a decade. Low-lying towns have submerged in the northern Philippines. This is after the country received heavy rains previously brought by Typhoon Doksuri and the southwest monsoon. Floodwaters swelled up by 7 feet in low-lying areas. Residents were forced to travel by small wooden boats after incessant downpours inundated roads. Meanwhile, Typhoon Khanan is approaching Japan's Okinawa island chain. The storm is feared to bring torrential rains and high winds to the region. Flights have been cancelled and tens of thousands of people have been advised to evacuate. The Indian capital New Delhi has recorded its cleanest air for the month of July in 4 years. The city witnessed an average air quality index of 83.71 for the month. As per data, New Delhi enjoyed good to moderate air quality throughout July. Australia's Weather Bureau has said that chances of an El Nino weather event remain unlikely or rather likely in the coming weeks. This could bring a hotter and drier weather. El Nino is associated with extreme weather phenomena ranging from tropical cyclones to intense rainfall. According to the World Meteorological Organization, this weather pattern has emerged in the tropical Pacific for the first time in 7 years. Reports say dozens of crucial climate science projects are set to be cancelled, delayed or restricted at the Australian Antarctic Division. This is due to budget constraints. The Cleaner Antarctica program will also be stopped. The program aimed to find remedies to the damage caused by human activity on the environment. The UNESCO has recommended against placing Australia's Great Barrier Reef on its danger list. However, it has stressed that the coral reef still remains under serious threat from global heating and water pollution. Australia has been lobbying for years to keep the reef off the endangered list. This is to avoid losing the heritage status, which could take some shine off its attraction for tourists. Meanwhile, the UN agency has recommended that Venice be added to the heritage danger list. The agency says the city has faced irreversible damage. This is due to a host of issues including climate change and mass tourism. It's the second time within the space of a few years that Venice has been threatened with the blacklist. Moving to business, Taiwan-based Foxconn is planning to invest close to $500 million in India. This is according to reports. The company aims to build 2 component factories in the Indian state of Karnataka. At least one of them will reportedly produce parts for Apple products, including iPhones. Consulting services provider Accenture is planning to cut nearly 900 jobs from its Irish operations. This is on top of the 400 employees it let go earlier this year. The combined redundancies represent close to 20% of the company's Irish workforce. The latest batch of layoffs is one of the largest in the information technology sector in Ireland. American pharmacy chain CVS will lay off some of its employees. According to reports, the layoffs could affect about 5,000 people. However, the company has not given any details about the number or scale of job cuts. The cuts will focus on some non-customer facing positions. The owners of German sandal maker Birkenstock are considering an initial public offering of the company. Reports say it could take place as soon as this September. If they go ahead with the listing, the company could reportedly be valued at more than $8 billion. Reports add that the financial firms like Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan are advisors for the potential listing. China has announced export controls on some drones and drone-related equipment. Beijing says this is to safeguard China's national security and interests. The restrictions cover drone engines, lasers, communication equipment, and anti-drone systems, among others. The controls will take place from September 1st. China's move comes amid escalating tensions with the United States. Argentina's government has reached an agreement with China's central bank. Under the deal, Argentina will secure $1.7 billion in yuan through currency swaps. This is to meet its $2.7 billion payment obligation to the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF. The remaining balance of the payment will be covered through a loan by the Development Bank of Latin America. According to reports, a Meta platform is preparing to launch a range of artificial intelligence-powered chatbots. It may be unveiled as soon as September. The social media giant is also exploring building a chatbot that speaks like Abraham Lincoln. The report comes as Meta executives are focusing on boosting retention on its new text-based app, Threads. Conversation platform X, formerly known as Twitter, has reorganized its structure. X's product and engineering team will now report to Elon Musk, who is the owner. CEO Linda Yaccarino will oversee all the other divisions, including legal, finance, human resources, and others. Both Elon Musk and Yaccarino will manage the trust and safety team. Now, this team is responsible for content moderation. The team has been under scrutiny for allegedly relaxing content guardrails, leading to a spike in harmful posts. Meanwhile, the company giant X's logo has been removed from atop its San Francisco office. This was after neighbors in the area complained of intrusive lights from the sign. Locals over the weekend recorded a video of the giant X glowing, pulsing, and strobing. Google's dominance in online search has triggered a regulatory crackdown by South Africa's antitrust body. It has recommended several remedies to improve visibility for smaller South African companies. The regulator has asked Google to add a flag identifier and search filter for South African firms. Moving to sports, in cricket, Jasprit Bumrah is all set to return after a long gap to lead India in the T20 series against Ireland. The Indian pacer was off the pitch as he was recovering from a back injury. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, announced that Bumrah will captain the Indian team in the T20s against Ireland. The three-match series is scheduled to be held from the 18th of August to the 23rd. England won the fifth and the final Ashes Test match against Australia by 49 runs. The Australian team were chasing a target of 384 runs but were all out at 334. Fast bowler Stuart Broad, who recently announced his retirement, helped England win the match by taking 2 wickets. The 2023 Ashes series ended in a draw, but Australia retained the Ashes because they won the previous series. England all-rounder Moeen Ali says that he will retire from Test cricket again after this Ashes Test series. The 35-year-old had overturned his earlier Test retirement to play against Australia. This was on request from the English captain Ben Stokes. Ali had initially retired from Test cricket in 2021, but he was asked to return after Jack Leach suffered an injury. In the FIFA Women's World Cup, the Netherlands defeated Vietnam 7-0 to secure a spot in the last 16. Esme Brooks and Jill Rould both scored twice to help the Dutch demolish Vietnam. This is the biggest win so far in the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Co-hosts Australia qualified for the knockout stage in the tournament. This is the FIFA Women's World Cup. They beat Olympic champions Canada 4-0 to advance in the competition. Australia's round of 16 opponents will be decided after the games played today. Philippines coach Alan Stachich has stepped down from his position after the team was eliminated in the FIFA Women's World Cup. The Philippines failed to qualify for the knockout stage at the tournament after a 6-0 loss to Norway. The Philippine Football Federation announced that Stachich will not renew his contract with the women's national team anymore. Brazil's midfielder Fabinho has left English Premier League giants Liverpool to join the Saudi Pro League club Al Ittihad. He has signed a 3-year deal worth $51 million with the Saudi champions. He is the second player from Liverpool to move to Saudi Arabia following the departure of captain Jordan Henderson. In some more Liverpool news, the club have named Virgil van Dijk as their new captain and Trent Alexander-Arnold as vice-captain. The 32-year-old centre-back captains the Netherlands national team and will replace Jordan Henderson. Van Dijk joined Liverpool in 2018 and has made over 200 appearances. Jordan Henderson, who served as Liverpool's captain for 8 years, joined the Saudi Pro League club Al Ittifaq last week. In tennis, America's Venus Williams has received a wildcard entry for the upcoming Western and Southern Open. Before that, the 7-time Grand Slam champion and former world number 1 will play at the Canadian Open next week. The 43-year-old returned to the court last month after having sustained a hamstring injury at the Australian Open in January. 8th-seeded Russian tennis player Ludmila Samsonova won in the first stage of the DC Open in Washington. She defeated her US opponent 6-1 and 6-3 in the women's singles category. Samsonova will next face either Sorana Cristia or Petra Martic in the round of 16. Moving to entertainment, Warner Bros. Japan has criticized their US counterpart over Barbenheimer marketing. They are against co-marketing Barbie and Oppenheimer because, according to them, it trivializes the nuclear war. Warner Bros. Japan said it is quote-unquote extremely regrettable that Barbenheimer memes were shared by US counterparts. Their statement said, and I quote, "There is currently a movement driven by overseas fans to watch the two movies together. We are asking the US head office to take appropriate actions. We also apologize to those who got offended." Barbie movie director Greta Gerwig has opened up about a possibility of a sequel. Gerwig told a news publication, and I quote, "At this moment, it is all I have got. I feel like that at the end of every movie, I am at totally zero." Gerwig also said that she is at a loss for words, seeing the amount of love that her movie has received. Canadian actor Stephen Amell has said that he does not support the ongoing actors' strike. Amell is a member of SAG-AFTRA. He said, and I quote, "I support my union, but I do not support striking. I think it is a reductive negotiating tactic." The actor has become the most high-profile union member to speak out against the ongoing strike. Striking writers and actors are demanding higher pay and safety from the use of artificial intelligence in Hollywood. Actor Andrew Garfield has said that he is excited about acting in more Spider-Man films. Garfield has been a part of 3 Spider-Man movies so far. This includes the 2022 hit Spider-Man No Way Home. The actor also said that he sees an endless potential for the character of Spider-Man in the future. Fantasy drama series The Witcher's 3rd season has taken a nosedive in fan support. The 3rd season's episodes 7 and 8 have become the lowest rated episodes of the series on IMDb. This is in contrast to season 1 of The Witcher, which had delighted fans and was widely praised. K-pop star Bae Suzy has won a case against a man who harassed her online in 2015. The man posted sexually explicit content about the artist on social media. Bae Suzy's agency had sued the man, and during the first trial, the man was ordered to pay a fine of about $780. He pleaded not guilty and demanded another trial. 88-year-old Oscar-winning actor Judi Dench has said that she has no plans to retire from her acting career just yet. However, she mentioned that her deteriorating eyesight is making it difficult for her to work on her craft. Dench added that it feels ghastly to be dependent on other people to learn her lines. She said, and I quote, "I can't see much, but you just deal with it and get on." Despite vision problems, Dench has starred in various recent films including Blitz Spirit and Cats. Actor Angus Cloud has died at the age of 25. Cloud is famous for starring in HBO's hit series Euphoria as drug dealer Fesco O'Neill. No reason has been given for the actor's death. The family statement mentioned, and I quote, "Last week he buried his father and intensely struggled with the loss." Actor Paul Rubens has died at the age of 70. Rubens is famous for playing the character of Pee Wee Herman. The nerdy character wore a grey suit and a red bow tie. The character is known for making children laugh and teaching them the importance of kindness. Rubens has died years after he was diagnosed with cancer. And finally, late singer and songwriter Coco Lee's funeral took place in eastern Hong Kong. The artist's fans, dressed in black, shouted "Coco goodbye." Lee's career spanned over 3 decades. She struggled with depression. Lee died on 5th July, 3 days after she tried to die by suicide. The artist is best known for voicing Disney's female warrior Mulan in the Mandarin language.